Good morning, tribe. We are going to be going over the war and how it's not killing the real estate market here in Atlanta, but it is also causing some issues. And it's not doom and gloom, but it is going to be some things that we may want to look into. I don't think that we're any way going to be looking at a crisis anytime soon, but I do think these are some points that we need to be paying attention to. So the first thing that we need to pay attention to are going to be the interest rates. The interest rates have started to fluctuate a little bit higher than where we were starting to see them go prior to the war. Everybody's expecting 2026 to have way lower interest rates, and we are now getting into this space where we are cranking up on the interest rates a little bit, which is calming down the spring market. And that's super interesting because we are still starting to see a pickup with buyers coming into the market. However, it's not what was expected because we expected the interest rates to come down into probably low fives, maybe the fours if we got lucky, and now we're still tracking in high fives, low sixes. Is something that we need to pay attention to because as this war continues to go on and whatever happens, people are going to be afraid of how this is going to react with the United States. And the feds are the ones that are kind of twisting the knobs at behind the scenes, and we're starting to see that play out. And when it comes to what this means for the real estate market in Atlanta, is we have a lot of buyers right now that aren't as pushy on the interest rates because their main thought process is like, okay, well, we'll just refinance. As long as we buy something that we can afford with a higher interest rate, we can definitely afford it with a lower interest rate. And so that's the mindset that a lot of these buyers are in, the ones that are for thinking long term versus short term, which ultimately just brings you to the consideration of it doesn't make sense to sit on the sidelines if you are genuinely thinking about buying a home and you're planning on living in it in the next 2 to 3 years. There's no foreseen crash or crisis or anything like that. So it is a good move to at least be in something that you can afford. And you can afford it with a higher interest rate. You can make that adjustment downward once these rates make their adjustments after the war or after Powell gets out or whatever it may be. Number two, gas prices are moving upward and it's absolutely crazy. Yes, I drive an electric car, but that doesn't mean anything. I can still see what's happening. All of our guys still drive, gas cars, and some of us drive diesel vehicles. And so the idea is that we are seeing that the market right now is being affected by higher prices at the grocery stores, at the gas stations, stuff like that is affecting the buying power of people who are in the real estate market right now. And so what we've noticed is that the whole process of the amount of money that people have budgeted for a mortgage may be adjusted because of the amount of expenses that are going outward, right? And this also affects, greater scale, the truckers that are on the road that are delivering products, logistics wise, it costs more to get a product from A to B. And so if that costs more to do that, that product moves upward. Gas prices are a really good key point if prices are going to move up in the grocery store too. And so, if we're looking at that and we're saying, okay, well, the buyer's buying power has lowered some in some cases, then we will start to see that because of this, people are going to start making the adjustment of, okay, maybe instead of the $300,000 home or the $500,000 home, they're buying at a 450 or a 250 just to be able to save on that monthly payment. And that is something that we have somewhat noticed in different markets, but mainly it's going to be those smaller markets. People are still moving up in homes. So they're selling their current home and they're buying that $350,000 house versus the $280,000 house. We still see that, but there is something to make a note of that in the real estate market, as people start spending less, they are going to start negotiating more, which causes these prices to make an adjustment downward. And we see this directly because I've got, two deals right now where we've negotiated such a good deal that the seller is not wanting to sign paperwork because they don't feel like they're getting a good deal anymore. And so that is something that is very important to notice because that is now a trend that we've started to see across the board. And this is not the first time that these two things have happened, but it's funny that they're happening at the same time currently. And so that is something that you may want to pay attention to as these housing prices start to adjust downward. You have the ability to get into this real estate market and negotiate at a very, very, very strong point, because not everybody is looking to buy their home right now. And the third thing that we need to pay attention to is the opportunity that is at play. There are investors that are stepping into this market. There were these larger investors that kind of took a step back and now have started to step back into the market, which is a good indicator that they see a change in the market potentially coming soon. In the event when investors or more investors start jumping into a market, that is a good indicator that they may see that there's a trend heading upward versus downward. The second piece is opportunity in the market right now, like I just discussed, was the ability to get really, really, really good deals for buyers, because one, homes are sitting on the market longer, which means the sellers are willing to negotiate, and we just have to be able to capitalize on how much we are negotiating off the price or towards closing costs or, in repairs or whatever it may be. There's so many opportunities when it comes to this, and we have got to be, as people who are wanting to get into the real estate market, whether that's investment or that's personal use, you have to be willing to look at it logically and say, okay, if this deal works for me, great, I'm going to move. If this deal does not work for me, I'm not going to move forward. And so that's where we're in a really good space of being able to do this for both parties, that if you are looking for personal use, we can negotiate the heck out of that deal. If you're looking to do an investment, we can also negotiate the heck out of that deal. And in some cases, we can even fund in the repair cost into the actual deal, so you're getting in at a lower price point and then also being able to fix that property up and put it back on the market. So there's so many things that are happening right now that is it's just a really good opportunity for people to be able to make adjustments and be able to make that next move and move up from, yeah, sure, you're at a 3% interest rate and you're looking at a 5.9% interest rate, but understand that if you can afford it and it makes sense, you have the ability to get into that home with a lower upfront cost because you're not spending so much on the home. So that's something that I want to put in your ears and be able to let you know, like, hey, yes, the war is happening. It is affecting the market in some manners, but it's not an actual doomsday situation. It's just we have to make adjustments when it comes to budgeting, or we have to make the adjustments towards how much we are wanting to spend on the home. With these two factors, we can also negotiate a really good deal for you and your family, depending on what that may look like. So, there's a lot of opportunity, but that does cost. And so that's something that we've got to pay attention to. And if you are curious about what the real estate market is looking like in Atlanta and you want a deeper run on it, we can definitely do that. Just reach out to us. But I would love to hear your feedback and how you are seeing happening in the economy, but also in the real estate market as well. So if you have bought a home recently, I would love to hear, did you get a good deal on that property? And that to me is a good indicator of where we're at, not just what our team is saying. So if you like the content, subscribe, share. We are steadily growing right now, and I'm absolutely loving it, because this is what we're doing this for, is one, educational purposes, but also to bring in some real estate content so that we can share what is going on behind the scenes. And so if you're interested in any of this stuff, whether it be personal growth, business growth, tips and tricks of business and things that I've learned, and also interested in real estate, whether that's investing or personal use, let us know. We are definitely here for that, and we can make that happen for you. Talk to you soon.